Running and optimizing your Facebook ads in order to increase your revenues from an e-commerce business is challenging, to say the least. There's a lot of misinformation out there about, what you should be doing, and every person online appears to be saying something differently, and the other person says that you just have to switch that ad setting in order for you to become profitable and achieve all your dreams. That's the reason why I wanted to make this video, not to talk about a particular ad setting or what you should do in this particular scenario, rather than to talk about general principles in order to optimize your ad account to profitable levels. Those aren't things that people talk about often, and especially Facebook ad gurus do never talk about this, because at the end of the day, those principles are pretty simple. So let's dive right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Victor and I'm the founder of Victory Media, a boutique Facebook marketing agency that exclusively works with e-commerce businesses. Everything that I will talk about in this video is not only backed by, a simple Google search, rather than backed by years and years of experience in this field. And if you want to stay up to date with, the current trends in the e-commerce growth space, and in particular with Facebook marketing, and you want somebody that actually guides you through those uncharted waters, then make sure to scroll down and hit the subscribe button right now. However, now without any further ado, let's hop straight into it and talk about how to properly optimize your ad account for your online business. When you break it down, at least on a broader level, it always comes back to those 4 principles. And if you keep those in mind, then those will guide you through profitable growth with your ad account. Those 4 principles are creative, data-driven decision-making, managing your expectations properly, and last but not least, increasing your customer value. Each of these 4 principles is crucial to, not only bring your business to the next level, but also to scale your company, not only profitably, but first and foremost, sustainably. Now, what do I mean with each of these principles though? First is creative. It's been proven over and over again that creative is the most important advertising element when it comes to the performance of your Facebook ad campaign. Nielsen Technologies have conducted a study that shows that creative is contributing 47% of the total performance of your campaign. Targeting, on the other hand, only contributes to 8% of the whole performance. This means that your creative is the #1 factor that either makes or breaks your campaign. And that also means that in order for you to set up your campaign for success, you need to make sure that your creative is set up for success. How do you set up your creative for success though? I have created a dedicated video for that will pop up, around the screen right now. And, if you want to know more about the topic on how to improve your ad creative, then there you go. However, long story short, there are thousands of creative best practices from, videos are engaging better than, imagery normally, because you can just convey a lot more creative information with that. To, on the other hand, that you should always simplify your creative. The simpler your offer and your product, the simpler should be your creative, up to even just using image ads, for example. On the, other side of the spectrum, if you have a really complex or a high ticket offer or product, then you want to make sure that you have, not only kind of a quick video of it or whatsoever, but rather going to the long form content, long form ad copy, or those longer videos to properly explain your value proposition. But ultimately, although there are all of those best practices that tend to work most of the time, all of this needs to be verified, because it might be that just either right now, just right from the beginning, or eventually those, creative best practices just stop working for your account in particular, and then you need to know what to do. Therefore, for the first point, creative, you should always have one main idea in your mind: A/B/T. Always be testing. If you're only running on a small budget, or just trying to retarget your website visitors on Facebook, then this is not necessarily the most important factor for you right now. However, if you're trying to go out there and to prospect at scale, you always want to make sure that you test everything and anything before you actually try to ramp some budget up behind it. The second principle, and that goes pretty much hand in hand with the first principle of always be testing with your creative to try to optimize it, is that you should only make data-driven decisions. And in order to do this, and in order to, properly optimize your account, improve your ad creative performance, and just generally evaluate your success metrics, you need to know your numbers. But what do I mean with, by knowing your number? I talk with business owners on a daily basis, and the, amount of them that, don't really know their target numbers, or not even, their break-even metrics, is mind-boggling. The majority of ad accounts out there run on arbitrary metrics like a 4x ROAS, because, some, marketing manager, or whatsoever, eventually or at some point decided that this is kind of the target KPI that they want to have for this particular channel. However, those types of numbers usually are not based on any type of consumer behavior, nor cost breakdown, or any margin structure. However, by knowing your numbers, I even mean going further than this, than just knowing your kind of break-even points. I mean, you should have the answers on top of your mind right now when I ask you, what is your conversion rate? What is your target ROAS? How much can you afford to pay for a click from Facebook in order to stay profitable with your business operations and even be able to scale this campaign? Those numbers and the answers to the questions I just posed to you should be ingrained in your brain, and also your account averages from your current marketing efforts should be ever present for you to properly evaluate where your business is at right now and what you need to do in order to scale it profitably. Evaluation frameworks like the Adjusted AIDA framework that we've already introduced on our blog at thevictorymedia.com help you to objectively measure your performance and to showcase what you need to improve and what you are lacking on right now. So coming back to the second principle, as I said, you should always make data-driven decisions, and frameworks, as I just said, like the Adjusted AIDA framework, will help you to do so. But the first and foremost, you need to know your numbers in order to even make data-driven decisions, to kind of distinguish good from the bad and to distinguish, okay, should we actually kill it or scale it? After you have properly implemented those two principles, which are again, improving your creative constantly and knowing your numbers and making data-driven decisions within your ad account, and you follow those principles regardlessly for a couple of months, then you're already better off than 80% of the advertisers out there. However, the last two principles that I'm going to share with you right now are going to make sure that you are, you form a part of the top 1% of advertisers globally out there. And the first of those two last principles, which then effectively is the third principle, is managing your expectations properly. When I talk to a founder and they share with me that they're willing to pay up to 10% of their consumer value to acquire a new customer on Facebook, then I usually respond to them, great that you're willing to do so. However, then this probably won't be possible with Facebook's advertising platform. Obviously, there are those rare examples out there where, you can see this 10x, ROAS on this particular ad account, but those are not necessarily results that you should expect. And definitely not expect those results to, happen at scale. Meaning, if you're retargeting, people on a $20 daily budget that have been already visiting your website, then of course it is more probable that you might, run into a 10x ROAS or, kind of maintain that ROAS at this level or at this daily budget rate. But as soon as you kind of try to scale those campaigns or, even try to go out and prospect for new customers and, try to tap into those cold audiences, which actually is the most powerful tool of Facebook. It's an awareness machine. Facebook is most powerful when it comes to scale, not necessarily when it comes to profitability and really, kind of having the most efficient acquisition framework possible out there. So latest when it comes to this moment, then, this 10x ROAS is really quickly going to tank. Trust me. Generally at Victory Media, we always recommend our clients, obviously this depends on their cost structure as well, but we generally, try to aim for this 2 to 2.5x ROAS when we are running a campaign or an account at scale. This means, usually more than $10,000 per month in account spending. However, we actually recommend our clients usually to just break even with their customer acquisition via Facebook. Why do we do that? Because breaking even or having a 10% margin with Facebook is the difference between, being okay with a 2x ROAS or a 1.7 ROAS. And this exact same difference between, being okay with a 2x ROAS or 1.7x ROAS is the difference between, by the end of the year having 10,000 new customers or having 2,000 new customers. And the difference between acquiring this amount of 10,000 new customers per year or 2,000 new customers is not only represented in an increased brand equity or market penetration, no, but it also means that you probably have 5x more the amount of, own traffic channels like email marketing. Probably also this has a, significant effect on your organic traffic channels, right? Similar to other traffic channels, like for example, SMS that kind of go along with this email marketing channel. All of those owned marketing channels will help you to increase your revenues and scale profitably and sustainably over the long run. Facebook ultimately is an awareness machine, as I said, and expecting a 10x ROAS or even a 3x ROAS is, a surefire way to set you and your account up for failure. So make sure to have proper expectation and, calculate with realistic outcomes. However, then on the other hand, founders sometimes come up to me by asking, okay, Victor, thanks for sharing that. However, I have a 2.7 break-even ROAS and I want to advertise on Facebook. What should I do now? Well, this is usually then the moment where, I just unfortunately have to disappoint this particular founder or marketing manager then by saying that his or her business model as at this moment is not set up for Facebook. You just need to make sure that your margin structure is, kind of on par with the expected results that you can, or with the results that you can expect from Facebook's advertising platform. And therefore, generally at Victor Media, but also at most marketing agencies or Facebook agencies out there, at least the reputable ones, those types of clients are usually denied. However, there's also a second option that actually helps the founders that are in this particular situation, and that leads us to the fourth principle, and that is increasing your customer lifetime value. This principle is actually completely outside of the kind of power of your ad account, and you need to make sure to think creatively about that. Dropping your Facebook traffic off on a normal product page will probably just not make it for you anymore, and will not only decrease your conversion rate significantly, but also lead to an unprofitable Facebook customer acquisition. You want to make sure that you increase your customer lifetime value, and there are several options to do so that do not only increase your average order value, but also your margin structure. And by doing so, you will give yourself some more room to breathe in order to acquire customers profitably on Facebook. One of the simplest ways to do so is to, just add a limited offer to your landing page. It's just that simple to say, hey, this is the offer, and it is, kind of eligible until this date. And, people need urgency. Customers and prospects that come from, Facebook's advertising platform, or from Facebook as a platform, better said, onto your website want to know why they should purchase right now instead of let's say 2 days from now. This usually leads to an increased conversion rate on your store, which normally leads then to a higher revenue per visitor, which, should then actually make your marketing efforts on Facebook more, more profitable. However, on the other hand, ideally this particular offer or limited offer should also actually increase your margin structure. A good offer to test around with there is usually a quantity or a bundle discount. This will not only increase your average order value, but ideally also increases your margins. However, this is not always possible. However, in all of the scenarios, it will definitely increase the cost that you could potentially spend in order to acquire a customer. Just imagine, you've been selling a $40 product and you could have, spent $20 to acquire that customer. Right now, however, you are, pretty much dropping people off on an $80 landing page where you're selling, 2 or 3 units of your product, and then you're able to spend $40, maybe even up to $60 in order to acquire one customer. So you can easily, double or even triple your cost, your cost per purchase and the amount of money that you can spend in order to acquire a new customer for you, without actually doing so much work, to be totally honest with you. Also, little things like, quick upsells or reorder buttons after somebody has just purchased with you, can give you those extra $5 per customer that, make your current Facebook cost per purchase workable and lets you scale your operations profitably and sustainably. Additionally to that, unfortunately, it's not 2015 anymore. As I said, dropping off your Facebook traffic on a normal PDP or product page will usually not do the job anymore. So you need to make sure that you increase your conversion rate as well as customer lifetime value by adding other channels, that do not necessarily cost as much as Facebook advertising, like, organic traffic, owned email marketing or owned marketing channels like email or SMS. Things like that will actually either make or break your Facebook acquisition. In general, to maybe wrap this fourth point up, you just need to make sure that you find a way in order to tap into this Facebook awareness machine. Obviously, Facebook will be profitable for you, and if Facebook is not profitable for you, then there's no real point in actually running Facebook ads. However, Facebook is pretty much a direct contact or a tool with which you can directly, be in touch with more than 2 billion monthly active users. So you need to make sure, that you find a way to actually make Facebook work for you, because if your customers and prospects are not on Facebook, then they probably won't be anywhere else, and they're definitely more difficult to acquire for you and your brand. So the best thing that you can do is not to say, okay, hey, my margin structure or Facebook ads just don't work out for me, because this will probably not be the case, or be, the case for just a rare minority of companies out there in the world. But for the vast majority, probably 99% of companies out there, you can make Facebook ads work. You just need to make sure that you actually find a way to do so. And this usually lays outside of your ad account, and this usually is not an ad setting, neither your attribution window. This is just generally, making your customer, or like making your operations more profitable, and then being able to scale this with tools like Facebook or Instagram. With that being said, those are the 4 principles that you should keep in mind in order to scale your e-commerce brand, or generally saying any online brand out there, profitably and sustainably for the next coming years. Just to repeat it right now, this is first, always be testing and improve your creative constantly. Secondly, know your numbers and make data-driven decisions. Third, manage your expectations properly and calculate with realistic outcomes. Do not expect a 10x ROAS from Facebook ads. And last but not least, increase your customer lifetime value wherever possible, and make sure to make the ends meet with Facebook's awareness machine and actually acquiring your, kind of customers for your brand successfully, profitably, and first and foremost, sustainably. If those principles are implemented correctly, you do not only have a huge head start against your, other competitors out there, but you can also, prevent most of the problems that come with the growth and scale of your operation further down the line. Now, before we wrap it up, and if you liked the video, I just quickly wanted to share with you that if you think some outside help could improve your Facebook ad results and increase your returns, then, we might be a good fit. My agency, Victory Media, exclusively works with e-commerce brands out there and provides them a done-for-you solution for their Facebook ads that does not only include launching, optimizing, and scaling their Facebook campaigns, but also implementing things like those 4 principles and having a kind of full-time team of graphic designers on there to improve your ad creative. And if you might be interested in this and discussing, what we could potentially do for you, then head down to the first link in the description to schedule into a free 30-minute consultation call with me personally, where we can not only discuss what you're currently struggling with within your Facebook ad account and what is holding back your growth, but we can also, kind of brainstorm what we could potentially do for you, and obviously answer all your questions in regards to, what do we actually do? How do we work? And, what do we actually do for you? With that being said, it's free, and I've literally never seen that somebody has walked out of this call with, less tangible advice to implement in their ad account than, when they came into this call. So I definitely recommend that to anybody and everybody out there that is already spending, money on Facebook, but thinks that something is holding them back. With that being said, either way, if you kind of, got any type of value out of this video, then I would appreciate a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching the video to this point. I know that if you've come this far, that you form a part of an exclusive group of people that do not only talk, but walk the talk, and that you are hungry for more content. So therefore, I went ahead and picked out an exclusive video just for you that I know you're going to love. Check it out right here.